What's going on, everybody? Thanks for coming back to another Code Peterson tutorial. We're doing some more GB Studio action, and I'm still working on that spooky game concept, and I thought it would be fun to find a way to incorporate a mechanism that allows us to have a light switch where when the light is turned off, you can't really see these holes that you can fall through, and then when the light's switched on, you can kind of navigate through these maze elements a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and get started. I thought the best way to do this would be with some tile swapping. We have basically the scene one here, and as you can see, if I go up here to sprites, I've already just brought in this ghost that I've used for a few other examples of this tutorial, and that is my character that I'm going to be moving around. If I go up to images, then I have my light switch level that I brought in there, and here it is scene one, and I just have a solid border around the outside with kind of a hard to see level where there's some green little dots, I guess, around the outside, and then there's an area where you don't really see those green dots. Now, for the tiles that I'm switching, I did create those in here. So this is basically the background when it's dark. This is the background when it's light. This is the light switch when it's off, and this is the light switch when it's light. And then this file size, I think it has to be the size of the Game Boy screen. You can find that information on the GB Studio webpage where they have the background sizes and colors and all that. And then I just use the lightest color that you can use on a Game Boy just to show you where the tiles were and the tiles weren't. All right, so once I had that done, then when I created my project with GB Studio, it makes this folder for us automatically. And I called mine Light Switch Demo. When I go in there and I go to Assets, it does give us our tile sets folder. If you remember on a previous tutorial, it wasn't there. I had to manually create that. Well, it is there now, and then that's where I manually had to, there we go, into tile sets. I manually had to move it into this folder right here. So there is no way to put the tile switching files in there through GB Studio. You just have to physically drag and drop it from your folder, copy it from your folder and paste it in here. And there it is. Okay, now as far as the coding part for this, I don't think this will be too difficult at all. To begin with, I will go up here to the plus sign and add a trigger. And I'll select this area that the character can fall down into. So once I did that, then you'll see on the upper right hand side, it says trigger one, and I'll add event, and I will go display dialog, and I'll put in here, you fell down a hole. Now, a cool thing with this latest version of GB Studio is I can go up here to layout, and because my character and everything is down here, I don't want that display dialog to cover up my character. What I can do is go here to position and go to top, and it'll put that dialog up here at the top of the screen. Kind of a nice feature that they added, and I think a lot of people will be appreciative of that. Um, the other thing I need to do is probably add event and set actor position, and then using this X and Y coordinate here, I'll move my character back to the start position like I'm restarting the game. Save, play here. I'm moving my character. I go up here. You fell down a hole, and it moves me back to the beginning. All right. That's the first part. Now that we have this abyss we can fall into, we need some way to make it easier to navigate around. For that, I will add another trigger. This one I'm just going to put over this light switch that I made. And here it says trigger 2. I can leave it called that. That's fine. And then on enter, I'm going to add an event. And I will go set variable to value. Variable set to value. And then up here in the drop-down menu, I will find my first global variable, which is variable 0. And I will call this one switch var for something that I can remember later on. And for the value, I'm going to click this little number sign, and I want to go to math and multiply. And then here, I have the number sign again underneath value. I'll click on that, and I will go to variable, and I can click the drop-down menu and find my switch var, and I'm going to multiply it by -1. Okay, now I need to give this variable an initial value. So here I'm going to select my scene 1, and I'm going to go on init, add event, set variable to value, and find my switch var. And when the game starts, it's going to be -1. All right, and then if I go here to my trigger again, that means when the game starts, it's -1, and when I collide with that, or when I enter that trigger, the value is going to be multiplied by -1. So it's going to turn to a value of 1. And then underneath that, I'll add an event, and I will go compare, and I'm going to find if variable compare with value, and I'll select switch var, and I'll say if it is equal to 1, and then I can find in here tile, replace tile at position. I'm actually going to copy that event and then paste that event after. So I have 2 instances of this. So for the first one in here, I want to find the X and Y value of the first tile that I want to change. And this is why it has to be unique tiles, because then all the other tiles that look like this tile are going to follow the same process. So you really only have to do it once, which is sometimes good and sometimes not. It just kind of depends on what you're trying to do with the game. Now, the tile set, this is that file that I put into that tile sets folder. I need to select this little arrow here until the option comes that I want to switch it with. So this is my little green grass switch, I guess. Okay, then for the second one on here, I need to find the other tile I want to switch. It's going to be my light switch. I will change that one to number 3. So that's what's going to happen if, when I go into this scene here, if it's equal to 1, it's going to switch to those spots. Now, I need to have a condition of what's going to happen if it's not equal to 1. In other words, if it's still -1. Well, we have this else section I can use here. So I'll click on that little arrow to expand it because it's collapsed on there by default. And then I can go up here and copy this one here, copy event. Then I will paste event after. And I will click and drag that down here into the else false bracket. I'll do the same thing with this other one. I'll copy this event and paste event after. Click and drag down here to where it's also in that false value. So then for these, all I have to change on these are the switches back to the original. So this 2, 2 is going to be the 0 position tile. And then this other one is going to be the off position, which is tile number 2. because they start counting with 0 and go after that. All right. Last thing I will probably do on this is add an event and display dialog. Go in here and say, you found a light switch. Then I'll go to layout with this one also, and for the position I will select top. Okay, let's try it out and see how it works. All right, we're in here, fall into the hole. Now if I go over here, you found a light switch, and then I can see the way that level works. And you can even switch it back off. And there we have it. That's our demonstration. So let me know what you think of this in the comments. If this is something you can use, or if you have some better ideas for this, I would love to hear them, because I think this is something that could be really fun to play with, trying to find the switch and then trying to find keys and all of that. And even earlier with the demonstration where I had my ghost transparent, if the level is dark and you can't even see your character that well until you turn the light on, that could be something fun to use in there. As always, I really appreciate you all watching. I appreciate any feedback and ideas for further tutorials, and I really hope I get to catch you on another tutorial video.